If you clicked on this video hoping to find out whether Elon Musk secretly married Shivon Zilis, stay with me, because by the end you'll have all the publicly available facts, the clues that sparked the rumors, and the surprising reason one simple word from Musk caused people to rethink everything they thought they knew about this relationship. Sometimes the biggest story isn't hidden inside a shocking announcement. Sometimes it isn't revealed through a leaked document, a wedding photo, or a headline splashed across every news site on the internet. Sometimes the thing that gets people talking is something much smaller, something so subtle that most people would overlook it entirely. In this case, it was a single word. A word Elon Musk used when referring to Shivon Zilis. Not girlfriend, not fiance, not wife, just partner. On the surface, it sounds ordinary. In fact, millions of people use the word every day, but when Musk used it, people immediately started paying attention. The reason wasn't because the word was dramatic, it was because it seemed deliberate. There was no formal statement attached to it. No explanation. No clarification. It wasn't presented as breaking news. It simply appeared in conversation, as though everyone was already supposed to understand what it meant. That simple choice of language triggered an avalanche of speculation. Within a very short time, people began analyzing every possible interpretation. Some believed it was evidence that Musk and Shivon Zilis had quietly married. Others argued it was simply a modern way of describing a close relationship. And some wondered whether Musk had intentionally chosen a word that revealed something important while still avoiding a direct answer. The more people discussed it, the more attention it attracted. So when someone like Musk chooses a term as flexible as partner, it naturally raises questions. Why use that word? Why now? And why describe Shivon Zilis that way specifically? To understand why people became so interested, it helps to look at the broader pattern of Musk's personal life. Unlike many public figures, Musk's relationships have rarely followed a traditional path. His personal history doesn't fit neatly into a story of dating, engagement, marriage, and stability. Instead, it often appears as a series of intense chapters marked by rapid change, enormous ambition, and constant movement. In many ways, his relationships have reflected the same energy that defines his business ventures. His first marriage was to Justine Wilson. At the beginning, their story seemed relatively conventional. They met when they were young and ambitious, both deeply interested in ideas, creativity, and intellectual exploration. There was a strong connection built on conversation, curiosity, and shared aspirations. But as time passed, their lives began moving in different directions. Musk became increasingly consumed by his expanding responsibilities. His companies demanded extraordinary amounts of attention. His focus stretched toward technological challenges, business growth, and visions of the future that required relentless commitment. Their relationship developed a unique reputation because it seemed to move in cycles. They married, divorced, remarried, and divorced again. It wasn't a straightforward story. It was a relationship that repeatedly found its way back together before ultimately separating once more. Tallulah later spoke about what it was like being with Musk. Her comments often suggested that life around him felt incredibly fast-moving. His mind was constantly focused on the next challenge, the next objective, the next mission. There was always another launch on the horizon, always another problem to solve, always another destination. After that, Musk became involved with Amber Heard. From the very beginning, that relationship existed under intense public scrutiny. Media attention surrounded nearly every aspect of it. Speculation often moved faster than confirmed information, creating an environment where public perception frequently overshadowed reality. The relationship was relatively brief, but it became a major topic of discussion simply because of the people involved. Then came Grimes, the musician and artist whose creative identity seemed, at first glance, completely different from Musk's engineering-focused world. Yet many people found the pairing fascinating. He represented technology, innovation, and scientific ambition. She represented creativity, imagination, and artistic experimentation. Together, they appeared to embody two very different ways of looking at the future. They shared children, exchanged ideas publicly, and often discussed topics ranging from artificial intelligence to culture, language, and technology. Even the names chosen for their children became international talking points. But eventually, that relationship also revealed challenges. Grimes herself suggested that Musk's attention wasn't simply divided between two people. Instead, it was competing against enormous missions, space exploration, artificial intelligence, global infrastructure, projects that operate on a scale few individuals ever attempt. When you step back and examine all of these relationships together, a pattern begins to emerge. The pattern isn't necessarily drama, the pattern is scale. And that matters because labels carry expectations. A girlfriend suggests a certain stage, a fiancé suggests another, a wife immediately creates assumptions about legal status, permanence, and public commitment, but partner functions differently. The word leaves room for interpretation. It doesn't force a specific narrative. It allows two people to share a connection without placing them inside a predefined box. And that brings us directly to Shivon Zilis. Technology, artificial intelligence, long-term thinking, systems. Her professional background is impressive in its own right. She worked at IBM, contributing to work connected with machine learning and artificial intelligence. She later became involved with Bloomberg Beta, where she focused on emerging technologies and investments. Before that, she studied economics and philosophy at Yale, combining analytical thinking with broader questions about society, decision-making, and human behavior. She has also been connected to conversations and organizations involved in the future development of artificial intelligence, a company dedicated to developing brain-computer interface technology and exploring how humans and machines may interact in the future. This creates a fundamentally different dynamic. Rather than existing alongside Musk's world, she exists within it. Many of the conversations that define their lives may already revolve around the same challenges, questions, and goals. That level of alignment is unusual. Another factor that stands out is her public profile. She does not seem interested in transforming proximity to Musk into personal fame. In an era where visibility often becomes a form of currency, her approach is remarkably restrained. That matters because it removes a source of friction. But from the outside looking in, Musk and Zilis appear to share many of the same frameworks. Then, there are their children. The pair share twins, Strider and Azure. Their family situation attracted attention, but it also fits within a broader philosophy Musk has openly discussed for years. He has repeatedly expressed concern about declining birth rates and population trends. He has argued that civilization faces long-term risks if populations continue shrinking. Whether people agree with that perspective or not, it remains a consistent part of his worldview. Musk often approaches major issues by identifying what he believes is a future problem and then taking action according to that belief. Viewed through that lens, family becomes connected to the same long-term thinking that influences many of his other decisions. And based on publicly available information, Shivon Zilis appears comfortable operating within that framework. This brings us back to the concept of alignment. If you examine Musk's major companies, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, X, and XAI, they all depend on systems working together efficiently. Success comes from reducing unnecessary resistance. In engineering, drag is the force that slows progress. It consumes energy without helping move toward the objective. Looking from the outside, many observers have interpreted Musk's past relationships as involving significant forms of drag, not because anyone was wrong or bad, but because competing expectations created tension. The term partner suggests something different. It suggests cooperation. It suggests synchronization. It suggests two people moving in the same direction, rather than trying to balance separate destinations. There is another interesting comparison hidden beneath all of this. Artificial intelligence researchers frequently discuss alignment. The goal is ensuring that a system's objectives match the objectives of the people creating it. When alignment exists, systems function smoothly. When alignment fails, instability follows. Musk has spent years talking about the importance of this concept in AI development. Because of that, some people wonder whether he naturally views other areas of life through a similar lens, not primarily through romance, not primarily through tradition, but through compatibility of purpose. That may explain why Shivon Zilis occupies a unique place in this story. She isn't presented as a celebrity chapter. She isn't part of a highly publicized romance. Instead, she appears connected through shared goals, shared interests, and shared long-term thinking. And that may be why the language matters so much, because partner is not merely a softer substitute for another title. It describes participation, it suggests responsibility, it implies collaboration. As Musk moves deeper into projects involving Mars exploration, advanced artificial intelligence, global communications networks, and the next generation of space technology, the people closest to him are likely becoming increasingly specialized and increasingly aligned with those missions. Within that context, traditional relationship labels may simply matter less. Which brings us back to the original question. Did Elon Musk marry Shivon Zilis? Based on publicly available information, there has been no official confirmation of a marriage. Shared purpose. Shared commitment to a common future. Sometimes a relationship doesn't announce itself with grand declarations. Sometimes it reveals itself through a single carefully chosen word. Not girlfriend, not fiance, not wife, just partner. And in Elon Musk's world, that may be the most revealing description of all.